The final journey of Queen Elizabeth II is nearing its end as her coffin moves to Westminster Abbey for the state funeral. Enormous crowds are gathering across the United Kingdom to pay their respects to the beloved monarch as she lied in state, with many more camping on the street to secure their spot ahead of her final farewell. Live updates: Final mourner attends Queen's lying-in-state when and where is Queen Elizabeth II's funeral? A state funeral will be held today, Monday, September at Westminster Abbey in London. After the funeral, the coffin will travel in procession to Wellington Arch and then on to Windsor, where the Queen will be laid to rest next to her husband, Prince Philip. What time will the funeral start in Australia? The Queen's funeral at Westminster Abbey is expected to start just after 7:50 p.m. Est, 10:50 a.m. in London. More specifically, the coffin leaves the Palace of Westminster, where it is lying in state, at 7:44 p.m. and arrives at the West Gate of Westminster Abbey at 7:52 p.m. for the service to begin. About 8:55 p.m. Australian time, the St. Post will sound, followed by 2 minutes silence across the entire United Kingdom. A commitment service will be held the same day at St. George's Chapel, on the grounds of Windsor Castle. This will be at 1 a.m. Est, 4 p.m. local time. A private burial will be held with the King and members of the royal family that evening. How to watch the Queen's funeral? You can watch the funeral on Channel 9 now and via this special link. 9's rolling coverage started from Buckingham Palace at 5 a.m. with Today hosted by Carl Stefanovic and Alison Langdon, followed by Today Extra hosted by David Campbell and Sylvia Jeffries. From midday, Georgie Gardner and David Campbell marked the end of our longest reigning monarch with 3 hours of coverage honoring the Queen's amazing life. At 3 p.m. Tracy Grimshaw, Peter Overton, Carl Stefanovic and Alison Langdon will lead 9's coverage from Westminster Abbey, Buckingham Palace, and Windsor Castle. Special state-based editions of 9 News will be broadcast from 6 p.m., 5:30 p.m. Adelaide, 4 p.m. Perth, before we return to England at 7 p.m. and roll right through the evening, featuring coverage from the BBC headed by the world's preeminent royal expert Hugh Edwards, live and commercial-free. You will also be able to follow live updates in our 9 News blog. Who will be there? The royal family, including the Queen's 4 children and grandchildren, are expected to attend. King Charles III, Camilla, Queen Consort, Prince William, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan will be among the family members at Westminster Abbey. Read more. Who will be at Queen Elizabeth II's funeral? World leaders and monarchs will also be among the many gathered to pay their respects to Queen Elizabeth II. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and Governor-General David Hurley will attend, as will US President Joe Biden, New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, Japanese Emperor Naruhito, South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol and Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro. Read more. The countries banned from Queen Elizabeth's funeral. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said she will attend. Members of Europe's other royal families will also likely attend. It is not known if former U.S. Presidents Barack Obama and Donald Trump will attend. In addition to the famous and powerful names in attendance will be 10 ordinary and exceptional Australians. Click the gallery below to see who they are. Will there be a public holiday in Australia? Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has announced Australians will be given a public holiday on September 22 to mourn the death of Queen Elizabeth II. The day will officially be called the National Day of Mourning for Her Majesty the Queen. Why the Queen's funeral is at Westminster Abbey? Her funeral will be the first state funeral in Britain since Sir Winston Churchill in January 1965. And it will be the first funeral of a monarch at Westminster Abbey since King George II in 1760. The first monarch to have a funeral at Westminster was Edward the Confessor in 1066. Since 1760, the tradition has been for the funerals of a monarch to take place at St. George's Chapel in Windsor, where the Queen will be laid to rest after the state funeral. But the Queen decided to break with tradition because of the special role Westminster Abbey has played throughout her life. Her father, King George VI, was coronated there in 1937. She married Prince Philip there 10 years later. And then in 1953 she had her own coronation there, crowned as Queen on June 2. Royal tradition has dictated funerals for British monarchs be held at St. George's Chapel in Windsor. However, the Queen said she wanted to break from tradition to have her funeral held in Westminster Abbey.